Hello, welcome back to One's the Force, the Star Wars podcast. My name's Phil, of course. I'm joined, as usual, by Dave and George. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm glad you got home safe and all from our flights.
Yes, it was a turbulent ride, but it was nice. The food on there was great. It was a lovely time in the USA.
It was for the brief time we were there.
Didn't have to pay for the luggage, just there at the airport, Disney Plus, get back on the plane, come home. Here we are.
It's been a really nice day, It was nice to have a quick holiday in.
It is. I went straight from Sweden straight to America and then back in, so I've had a hell of a 24 hours, but it's all been good. It's all been worth it.
Really has.
Yeah, because of course we are here to talk about season 1, chapter 1 of The Mandalorian. Of course, this is Star Wars' first live-action TV show. It's something we've been highly anticipating. It's been about a year since the announcement, and let's just jump straight into it. It did not disappoint. For all the wait and all the hype, it did not disappoint.
It didn't, but just before I do get started, sorry, can I just say before, if anyone is watching or listening to this now, it's massive spoiler alert. We're going to go through this and we are going to talk about the episode in its entirety and talk about plot points. So if you have not watched The Mandalorian, if you have not listened to The Mandalorian, please stay away for now. Go find the episode. It's available if you fly places. And if you're in the States, obviously you can get that legally perfectly well. But yes, go see it. We are going to talk about stuff that happens in this, and you do not want that spoiled by us without seeing it.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you wish to have it spoiled by us first, then thank you for choosing us to be your spoiler of choice. But of course, please go watch the episode as well. Go however you can, wherever you can, go and watch it because this will be a good one. This is something because we've been waiting to discuss this, of course, ever since it was announced. It was announced last year. The three of us have been sat hyped, waiting for it. We've had the Resistance in the meantime. We've had, of course, the end of Rebels. We've had Clone Wars coming back. We've got Rise of Skywalker. But this is the breaking new ground. Clone Wars we've had before. Animated TV shows we've had before. We've had films before. We've never had a live action TV show. And initial thoughts on the show, guys.
Going into this, I mean, this was something that I've been looking forward to. There had been rumors for many years that not just Disney, but pre-Disney, George Lucas wanted to do a live-action Star Wars series. It was going to be so expensive that he just couldn't do it. Sorry, I completely got it wrong. Not that he couldn't do it, he just didn't end up doing it. Nothing's too expensive for George Lucas. Let's establish that first of all. And then, there was rumors that Disney were looking into it. Obviously, they announced Disney Plus, the streaming service. There's rumors of Marvel shows, Star Wars shows. And then it was around about this time last year where it was so bizarre because it didn't film in London. And it was kind of like, I just remember a news article was like, is there a new Star Wars TV series filming? And everyone's like, well, no, because no one's heard anything. And then set pictures came out. And then it was like, oh, there's a Star Wars TV series filming. And we were so focused on episode 9 that just started filming. Mandalorian quietly in America when it got filmed. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That's one of the best things I think that so excited was because it was just there one day. Here is the cast of The Mandalorian. Here is the directors. It's coming out on Disney Plus. Done. That was it. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and talk about how beautiful and incredible it is. We are going to talk about that many times over the next few weeks. But Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, that's the dream. Jon Favreau is someone I wanted to work on Star Wars for a long time. Filoni is the heir to the throne. The two combining to give Filoni the experience with the legacy of, Jon Favreau, one of Disney's guys as well. Marvel, live action adaptations, everything. Jon Favreau is like a solid studio guy. They love him. And it's just such a well put together team, and very exciting the last year celebration. Sorry to rub in again. Big room, stealing additional posters, which I traded for other posters. I mean, I know it's off the point, but I kind of walked out of the room, took a poster, put it in my bag, then I walked 2 steps, took the next poster off the next bloke, and I remember just doing trades of people in the hotel.
It's been such a build up to this series, and certainly in the last coming weeks, we've been so excited and hyped for what we're going to see. To be stepping into live action Star Wars is something since they started mentioning live action TV back in around episode 2 days, I think it was, where it was all Rick McCallum and George Lucas going to bring out this massive series, and it never kind of got off the ground. And now we've finally got this, and for it to be a Mandalorian series was always exciting. There's stuff in there. Obviously, we need to kind of eventually we'll find out, I'm guessing, along the way of the story, because this kind of jumped straight into a story without giving us any background. It was just in, and I really liked that it did that.
Agree. Also, we have to remember that don't forget earlier into the process, we had a problem. Well, we had a problem. The production had a problem of memory cards going missing with footage on it. And I'm actually very grateful that none of that ever got leaked. Now, whatever happened to it, no one will ever know, I guess. But the fact that we've been left, we have a few teasers here and there. I haven't watched many of the TV spots, again, purely because I didn't want too much spoiled. But the fact that that footage never got leaked, the fact that we were left to wait for it to come out, the fact, yes, of course, there's a bone of contention here with us at One to the Force that, well, it's not exactly been released everywhere with a nice wide release, as we so wish. However, building it all up, waiting for the, as I said, about at Star Wars Celebration, we got some footage leaked, although it got shut down on YouTube pretty quickly. Of course, George, our own reporter, was there, did get to see some things we didn't.
You guys, no, Mandalorian, you guys had saw that by the time I walked out the doors and got up Esper.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, we had it.
That was fun though, because there's stuff in there which we saw today, and it was more dialogue and whatnot. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, the monkey lizard that got fried. Like that was something like that's the right kind of thing to show Exploration. I didn't give anything away. It was literally the scene with him and Apollo Creed. He's going to be called Apollo Creed. I don't care what his new character is. Where they discuss, that was like the footage from Celebration. That was it, just 2 dialogues. Yeah. No action, no nothing like this. It was, and obviously with the behind-the-scenes stuff. So Celebration was the perfect way to introduce Mandalorian because the episode 9 panel had been and gone. Friday's panel was... No, that was episode... No, yeah. Friday was episode 9. Mandalorian was Sunday. You had a nice gap, quiet Saturday to get you pumped for Sunday. They nailed it. They had all the cast out. Everyone's doing the right thing.
Do we not have a Clone Wars panel on the Saturday? Or no, it was Remembering Rebels though, because on the Monday you had the Phantom Disappointment.
The thing is, just like I love Clone Wars. I'm not going to put a button here to be negative, but it's not in the same league as live action. No animated music, whatever. It was like the live action Star Wars show. Disney Plus hinders on this show, like the responsibility they've had to take with this, and and we've all seen it 4 months before we meant to. Well played, guys.
It really is lovely to have seen it before. Like you say, March 31st, it's going to be out in the UK. So obviously for our podcast, it's nice to be relevant and not come out 4 months down the line and go, right, we're going to talk about episode 1 of The Mandalorian when everyone in the world's seen it.
And already seen Clone Wars as well, don't forget.
Yeah, of course. Well. So it's nice to be able to get these things the way we do on the airplanes, on the VPN highway. But yeah, so we've really, that's just our thoughts. I mean, I was blown away by the episode itself. I just thought aesthetically, as soon as it started, I was back in Star Wars and there was no question of that. It was no like, oh, that's okay. It looks all right. This was pure Star Wars.
Indeed. So we've already got, again, thank you for people who are joining us. We have Chris James saying good evening there. So evening to you, Chris. And we have another one coming from Carl Roberts saying the line, has your signet been revealed? That's got to be significant, right? We will get to that. And that is one point I really want to talk about. So yes, we will talk about it. And yes, it probably will be significant, but we will get there in due course. But thank you so much for commenting anyway. Going back to what we were saying though, where is it now? A little bit here. Yeah, so we've been waiting for a year. The show's up. We have all seen it. We have our ways. We have our planes to and from America booked for the next couple of months. We are all broken. People are, hating us and leaving us and kind of leaving us destitute. And this is actually a green screen. We're now all homeless, but eventually we'll get it all sorted for you, for everyone back home. I love the casting. We haven't seen too much of the people of who's in it just yet. We've got some key characters we're going to get into. The first bit I want to talk about, though, before we get into the episode itself and actually talk about the story, is the aesthetics. This being a live-action show is something, of course, as Georgie was saying about, we've had our animated shows before, but this is what everything was hinging on. Star Wars itself, the universe itself. Episode 2, Episode 3, we know the problems. We have our gripes with the amount of blue and green paint that was used. This feels different. This does feel like a film to me. It's that level of quality, and I absolutely love it.
I mean, what I want to say is that this, ironically, this probably had the most green and blue paint used of the Disney era. It was all shot on that studio in America, and Favreau and Filoni said it. The technology these guys had on these stages wasn't like take this in before. The ILM guys coming up with new ways to do the space, the miniatures, and you watch this, and it's 40 minutes long, and for a TV budget as well, maybe Band of Brothers is the greatest visual TV series in history, and I don't think anyone will come close to that in terms of budget as well. The Crown, obviously, this is the third most expensive TV show in history for an opening season. $15 million an episode. That's not cheap. 120 million. If you're getting 8 40-minute episodes, that's like just over 5 hours of Star Wars. And of course, there's going to be 1 or 2 bits where you can tell it's green screen. More so, probably on the landscape planet shots. This isn't a criticism. This is you forget it's telly because of the quality of it.
Yeah.
The quality of it.
Yeah.
And that's a really big thing. And looking at the sets, the costumes, the makeup, the armor.
I mean, the actual the prosthetics, as well as Nick Nolte's character Creel, the Ugnaught. The way the actual mouth moves, it looks incredible.
I know it's not Nick Nolte in costume, but they've made an Ugnaught look like Nick Nolte.
Yeah,
that's what surprised me more than anything. Like, oh my word! Like when I saw the voice, was that like it matches? It shouldn't match, but it does. Sometimes you can have a really jarring here's Kevin Spacey voicing a beetle in A Bug's Life. It's so obviously it's him. That's actually a terrible reference. I should not have said his name. But it's one of them where it didn't really work, but it did. Whereas Nick Nolte was like, let's just make the person who's going to voice look like him, and I think that really helped with this. And it not makes it more believable, but it just gives it that not levity, because it doesn't need levity because it's Star Wars. It doesn't need authorization and stuff. But as long as they got Nick Nolte onto Star Wars, yes, most people would have done it. They got one of hers on Star Wars, but the cast I think is really what made this for me. Not just everything else about it. Everything is flowing with one another. The visuals are matching the script, matching the action, matching the drama, creating the story ready for an 8-episode series.
Yeah, I mean, just to bring up a comment here. So, for Chris James saying, having a tactile real world to see almost feels and gives the Mando edge over the movies for him. It's just like being in Disneyland. We wouldn't know. We've not been to Galaxy's Edge yet. We wish. It hurts us. We couldn't budget 8 flights to the States and Galaxy's Edge. It was one or the other for us.
Yeah, luckily we get the opening day earlier. Saves us another flight out.
It does save us another flight out, absolutely.
However, I have to. Sorry, Dave, go on.
No, I was going to say. I mean, I'm just exactly along the same lines that as George has been saying. Having the sets, the money that's gone into it, you can see the money, the way it's been spent, the look of the armor, the different areas, the different sets they went to, the different places. Everything looked different, but it looked that dirty and awful used world that we had in the original trilogy of Star Wars. We're right back there, put me right back into a cantina, and it was just wonderful to see stormtroopers and characters that we haven't seen for quite some time. It's been
sorry, yes, Nick Nolte has spoken. Yes, yeah. I agree.
I have spoken, and it was just really, really nice to see all these Jawas and things like that land. Even the speeders, the noise of the speeder engines was just like this welcome hug. It was amazing.
It was, although I must admit, I love the little droid. For the first one that comes along, it's like, this is your crisp, perfect one, and then we have our oldie, completely broken down version because he doesn't want a droid. Shall we go into the episode itself? Shall we actually talk about the storyline now? We've gone over a little bit about the actual aesthetics. We've gone over a little bit about kind of the concept and kind of the build up to the show. Should we just go through the actual episode now? Because we've got a lot to get through in not a huge amount of time. Because I know between the three of us, we could actually sit here and chat for hours as how we all became friends in the first place, was sitting for hours and not getting bored of each other since just talking about Star Wars.
I think the story itself, it did, to be honest, it's kind of short. I mean, I put up earlier in our description sort of the official synopsis of the episode.
It is kind of concise and to a point.
It really is. It's like a high. Actually, I'll get up if we go through that. It's so to the point that exactly what it was. I think it's 2 lines that kind of gives the description of the whole episode. Let's just get a hold of that. A Mandalorian bounty hunter tracks a target for a well-paying client.
That's it. There we go. Episode done. It begins with, here's the intro to a bounty hunter collecting a bounty. Great way to introduce the character, the environment, the era. Great way to introduce the supporting character of Carl Weathers, aka Apollo Creed. And then you're going to progress, obviously, into the actual 8-episode story, which is the Empire has fallen. Here it's like remnant stormtroopers, the client, which they're calling Werner Herzog, and a random, not security, but like a random scientist, which is going to obviously come important very soon. Like, here's a bounty. I can't give you that detail. I can't give you that detail, but here is this one detail. Find him. It's elusive, and there we go.
Let's a little bit before that, we will cover a couple of scenes there, but the opening just before the Mandalorian credit, I love that bar scene, him coming in, the violence of him grabbing a hold of that guy who's trying to run away and pulling him through the door until he got cut in half.
Awesome. We all had did we all have a bet on that we thought someone didn't think it would cut him in half? I said it would, and it did.
I didn't think it would. No, I thought it would stop.
I was on the camp that it would show it, but maybe not all of it. So I think I was
it stopped for a millisecond before it cut him in half. It just went. I was like, oh, okay, and it was like thump and the legs fell on the floor. I was like, oh, excellent.
When it's the sound effect of the razor sharp cuts and the body hitting the floor.
Yeah, the Foley was on point for this particular one. It was just this lovely crisp, like done.
I love it. Like I said, it was the perfect way to introduce him. There's not much you need to know. Like your Clint Eastwood, sort of Wild West. There's not. Obviously, we're going to learn a lot about him over the coming weeks and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is all stuff we've seen in the trailers. This is a nice thing actually about the trailers. Yes, we've got some very small scenes from later episodes, but the majority have been from this first episode. So yeah, as it open up, we have that very first scene with Mithril being completely and utterly battered around in a cantina with a couple of ruffians. Mandalorian comes in. Apparently, he spills his drink. Of course, we see get knocked over first. Ends up having a fight with a Quarren, a human, and some other guy. Quarren gets cut in half, which is just beautiful and we all love. Of course, he goes to talk to Mithril. Well, talk to him is a strong word. He doesn't really say much. And Mithril's like, okay, you can have my credits. No, okay. Puts down the puck, this little bounty hunter's puck. So here you go. Here is your bounty. Oh, bounty puck? Yep. Me? Ah. Of course, then it gets taken to the ship. This is where we see the awesome, what is it? I had it actually noted down. The Ravenak, beautiful creature that I love the fact that the Mandalorians are just going, it's fine, I got this, can't take off, has to go give it a shock. But again, that's one of the bigger CG elements of it, but I still thought it was well done. Of course, then we get back to wherever he's come from to hand in all of these bounties to Carl Weathers' character, who is in my notes here because I've been so excited. Grief Karga, there we go. It's on the top of my head. I couldn't quite remember it. I love the interaction between the two of them. I love how he then gets the information to go and see the client, who is, of course, Werner Herzog's character. Again, with the stormtroopers are looking quite worse for wear at this particular point. There's no location. There's no. There's last known location. There is no information apart from his age and the last known location, and that's it. Of course, goes off, finds it, ends up landing on this planet, gets attacked by blurgs, and gets saved by Nick Nolte's character. Nick Nolte has spoken. Name is Kuiil. It's Kuill. It's not mentioned in the episode, but if you go on IMDb, you can find it. It's a very weird. I don't know how to say it, obviously, because it's not being pronounced.
Yeah,
however,
I
love the interaction between the two of them. It's just this very kind of curious one of, I've never met a Mandalorian before. However, you should be able to handle this. Kick these guys off my planet for me, will you? Then, of course, for me, comes to my favorite part, which is this expansive little encampment, and IG-11 shows up, and then everything kind of goes a little mental. I mean, IG-11, I fall in love with this character by his one and probably only appearance now, by what happens to him. Purely in the way of he is used as comic relief, but it's not overly done. This is a concern we had between Taika Waititi and how he does his films and how it would gel with Star Wars universe. He is funny, but it's not over the top.
I think it's been really well played. You're right. Taika was amazing as IG-11. His line of wanting to use his self-destruct over and over again. The Mandalorian's like, just wait. And like, oh, okay. Oh, I'll set them self-destruct. So it was played with, you could almost hear Cole saying it. If he'd been Korg saying, it would have been just as good. But it was really well played. You're right. It was played for comedy, but it wasn't like over the top. It wasn't too much. It didn't take me out of like the story that was going on and the battle they were having, which was an awesome battle as well. It was, they got this point where obviously he's set up where he's going to pick up this bounty that is, he needs someone to go get, and it's been given to this Mandalorian, and they're expecting big things from him. And that's the only reason he's been given this job, this off the books job. And you kind of think, okay, well, what could they be going for? What is the, and I think they just keep calling it the asset that they're looking for. And it's, you're kind of wondering what is inside this building that they're trying to break into.
There's a lot of the fact that they also go, okay, they wheel in this big cannon. The fact that they just, Mandalorian is able to jump on it, goes around, guns everyone down in a quite a cool scene. They, of course, need to get through the store. They go, well, how are we going to get through it? I love the look the two of them just give this cannon. It's because of, slight realization. We can blast our way in. Of course, they then get into said hangar, kill one random person in there. They go, okay, there's still a life form in here. And, of course, this is where it gets interesting.
Well, I think, yeah, it's a very interesting point. I think if we leave that maybe till a little bit later, we'll go back to maybe a couple of points before we go to the big reveal of the episode. I really want to go back. Sorry, George. Sorry.
Am I jumping in front of you? I was going to go back to the big action scene of IG.
No, go.
What I love most about this is that both IG-11 and the Mandalorian, they're not using the same one weapon the entire thing. It was so easy to go point shot, point shot, point shot. You had him using his wire gun, the cannon, his fist at times. This is obviously more Mandalorian than IG-11, but it was really nice to see that, not choreographed action, but we haven't really had that kind of. You had a little bit of it in Solo when they're running from Kessel. The actual gunfighting stuff, obviously, Rebels, you get bits of it, a little bit in Clone Wars, but we haven't properly had that in so long in Star Wars. I'm thinking back to if Phantom Menace counts, when they've got the Naboo stuff, but there's always lightsabers in the other scene. And it was just refreshing to see this one singular scene of just them fighting in different ways, because it's showing them strengths in different areas, but it's just the way, like, you know, you're playing like them sort of fighting games, you get like combos and it's stuff like it felt like that in a good way, like, oh, he's switching to this, he's switching to that. It was never the same thing over and over. And what I loved as well was the sound effects. That his pistol seems to have like a new sound effect that I haven't heard in Star Wars before. And there's little things like that I love. But it was great seeing him, and the fact he's obviously, we'll get into that later on, the shoulder pad. But is he gonna become fully chrome? Am I jumping the gun here? But
we'll jump straight back there now, I think, because I want to bring up that as well. When he has given his bounty to go and collect the asset, he goes to sort of, he doesn't seem to leave the planet he's on. It seems to be very much.
Should we actually back up a little bit further and talk about the reward for the bounty? Because it's kind of the bounty for bringing it in. So kind of key here. So the client offers him Beskar steel, which I think is this the first time in canon we've actually had it mentioned what the Mandalorian armor is made out of?
Well, I had no idea that was that. So yes,
it's been mentioned.
I thought that was a large credit chip, and then it melted. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Now, Beskar steel, I think, was mentioned in one of the Mandalorian comics, or at least in one of the old books a long time ago in Legends, but it's never been canonized. So the fact to actually have it name dropped, well, don't forget, we actually have the mythosaur skull symbol walking down into that layer as well, which for this point onwards has only been Boba Fett's symbol. No one has ever, it's not been fully associated with the Mandalorians per se, because especially when you get into Rebels, we have Sabine and Clan Ren, you have Clan Vizsla, House Vizsla, you have, again, with the Clone Wars, again, the different houses, different clans, there's no real set symbol for it. When it comes to Boba Fett, he has the mythosaur skull, and he also has the little piece of wheatgrass, whatever it is, with the little bits attached to that. So to see the mythosaur skull again, that's kind of cool to see it associated with the Mandalorians. But yes, Beskar steel. So now we know that that's what, of course, the Mandalorian armor is made out of. It's actually mentioned in the very first cantina scene as well of the episode. So the bounty apparently is a container's worth of this material. So this, whatever the asset is, has to be worth a hell of a lot. And they talk about being, you know, when he's then handing over this piece of steel to the armorer, and she says, well, you know, all this was lost during the Great Purge. Well, he's bringing it back. So yeah, talk about that and talk about saying how has Jorah Signer being revealed yet? Again, we don't know where he's from. We know he's a foundling, and then again, entry points for Mandalorians. This is stuff that we have not actually seen at all yet. Apparently, again, Serenity for 25. Robin, again, Brien saying, I think they mentioned it in Rebels. Again, I'm not quite sure. I'd have to go back and double check. But if that is the case, that is the case. However, it's good to see it being brought up again.
I did love the fact that he took it down to the lair and there was the other Mandalorians there, which I wasn't expecting to see quite so early on, that we'd get other helmeted Mandalorians actually on the same planet. And especially when she melted it straight down that it was given and made the shoulder armor for him. I thought it was a really nice touch. And the fact she said that even with what he'd given her, it would go back to the rest of the clan as well. So it was a really nice touch, and it started to sort of build this universe and this world where the Mandalorians are now at without giving us massive swathes of backstory. We got tiny little bits of flashback while the armor was getting smashed out and getting shaped. He was having flashbacks to obviously him as the child.
The battle droids, because
yes,
that what did kind of look what was happening. Just as a point of interest, I actually have fired off the Black Series of the Mandalorian to hand, and as you can see from that particular shoulder pad, it isn't chrome.
You opened it. What?
Yeah, Phil's an opener.
Don't get me wrong. I love an opener, but you got the Carbonite edition. You opened it.
Yes. I have a lot of other things I keep sealed. I don't keep everything sealed. I'm not.
Why don't you just get the normal one?
Because the art was painted matte, not painted nice and shiny.
Yeah, but it's shiny because it's in the box. So I'm looking at mine over there. I'm different opinions between collectors here. Okay. I'm normally into that, but like, no, not that version.
Triggered. Triggered. Is that what we need for you?
I was like expecting him to get the back. Oh, I should have done the same thing. I was like, oh no, he's just got the figure out. I did think that because I was going to have a look actually. It makes it very interesting because she obviously teased like, oh, do they know your insignia? And I was like, that's going to come up. That's going to be important at some point. We're going to learn into his backstory. At that moment, I was like, please don't be Boba Fett. Then obviously we get the mini flashbacks. You're definitely not Boba Fett. Let's end this parade now. You can stop the he's so blatantly Boba Fett tweets. But no, he's not. You know the ones. You've seen them everywhere.
I have. I've just ignored them.
I remember someone put like, why is it called the Mandalorian? They should rename it to Boba Fett. I was like, well, no, clearly not. And but like, it's nice because it means there's more than one Mandalorian in the galaxy.
Well, yeah, the fact that you go down there, the fact that it's the different designs on the helmet, different designs on the armor. I mean, the Mando Mercs, the costuming group, has always had their own flavor anyway, but to see it in the universe again, just to see live action. I mean, this is always my gripe when it came to episode 2 and episode 3. Clone Troopers, every single one of them is CG. You don't get that same effect with the armor. This is just proving my point further. The fact they just look so cool.
It was lovely to see classic Stormtroopers again. We don't know quite. It's nice that we've seen them and we kind of know, okay, they're still about, yet we don't know quite.
They look proper ragged, though.
Yeah, they do. We don't know quite where the line, because obviously it is mentioned that when they're talking about the Mandalorian ship, which name escapes me.
The Razor Crest.
The Razor Crest. And he said, oh, it's pre-Empire. So, and also the Mandalorian mentions that the Empire's now ended because see, you've got me saying Apollo Creed gives him Imperial credits, and he said they'll spend, but he's like, no, I'm not having any of that. I don't know if you know the Empire's over. So it's nice that we're kind of getting that.
The Mon Cala currency, which I like the fact it's still slimy. It's like, really is play into it.
I was going to ask that. Have they been in canon before? Because I kind of was mesmerized by them. They're like them weird like bath bombs you get from shops.
They have been.
There was a really weird squidgy sound effect when you put them on the table, and I was there like, ugh. Like,
you went to Mandalorian Lush, and he was there for a while, and
but like it just looks like take it to Mon Calamar. It looks like you'd put it in the water, just like dispose.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. But yeah, it was really nice. Again, another form of we've only had Republic credits before, and now we're getting those Imperial credits, and obviously Mon Cal credits as well. It's really nice to kind of build up the world and the universe, which I think and again, I'm taking this back to where I said begin. We kind of got dropped this story, and we weren't given massive swathes of backstory. We weren't told loads. We were just in, and you were kind of expect if you're watching The Mandalorian, you're aware of where we are, what's happening, and who these the armor is. You've kind of got an idea already. You don't need to know swathes of backstory of how we got here. I'm sure we might get that.
Yeah, the episode itself was a solid episode. It was a setup. It was very clearly to set up what was going to happen, but without having, as you said, to have too much backstory. So it was a very nice balance between here is backstory for what you're going to see going forward, but not too much backstory to have to make it feel kind of labored. It really was like nice, quick, concise. Here you go. Here's some information here. Here's your bounty. Here's where you need to go. Here's at the end of it, we'll talk about the quarry itself. Bish, bash, bosh in a very concise, very clean way, and it was perfect.
The only bit I found dragged was him learning to ride the
Blurg.
The Blurg, yeah. It was okay, but it seemed to kind of slow it down a little bit in the middle. Although I do like the line that when he couldn't get on there, that he said your ancestors used to ride the Rontos, which was the big dinosaur that you see in the animated show, and that's what that is.
Sorry, there's a little comment here saying the fact that his bounties were pulled and he's not a lone gunsley was also a nice touch. Yeah, I like the fact that it's part of the guild now. It's really expanding that part. Again, if you read the comics or the books, you do have the guild in there. You do have bounty hunters left, right, and center. But again, you see it in I can't remember which comic it is, but you actually see this whole, again, it's actually in Clone Wars. You have a Sarge walk up and there is actually a whole board saying, this bounty, this bounty, this bounty. So to add that they be a proper guild, to have it all together. Again, I agree, it's a really nice touch. But sorry, Dave, back to your point.
So I'd say that was the only kind of moment. I say he mentions the big Bronto, which is the creature that you see the Boba Fett on the animated, in the holiday special. Oh, and also Life Day got a mention as well, which was awesome.
Yes.
You just know that you know that Filoni and Favreau, they probably love the holiday special. They probably hate it, but they probably love it. They grew up with it. They said, they were inspired by Boba Fett. We had the weapon, which we've known about for so long. Yeah. It was so cool seeing it as a little binocular as well, because it must be the most intimidating binocular in history. I think like nearby, and he's just trying to zoom in, and he's just pointing this humongous thing at you.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it takes everything, but like I said, I think when it's something like this, when you get stars, when you've got the fans making the film.
This you mean? Here's my monocular. I'm just going to find what I'm looking for. You're not going to die yet.
and that's the thing. I think what's so important is that not having fans making them, and actually not you need the right storytellers to do it, as they've proven with these two guys. You build your story, and like Ready Player One, you put your story in, and then you put your references around it. So if everyone's read Ready Player One, the book is references then story, but the film is story then references. The film is so much better. Obviously, Spielberg done it. I felt like this way. They've got their story, they've got their ideas, and they've probably had the fun coming after of. Now we're building the world. What do we want to put there? What do we want to put there? What can we chuck in? What words can we say? What have we explored in canon? What haven't we? And you can imagine. I mean, they said in this Celebration that I can't remember which one, but one of them, I think it was Jon Favreau, sent him a script on Christmas Day last year.
Yeah, he was writing on Christmas Day. He was still doing that. Yeah.
And he was saying once I start, I don't stop, because they just come at me and have so much fun. And you can tell they've put a lot of thought and fun into this as well.
The whole episode screamed, you're right, you say it, fans now working on these stories, but really well knowledgeable fans, and fans who want to show us exactly the world we've known is there and what we've wanted to see for a long time. And I honestly, I can't praise the thing high enough. I had a great. I've only seen the episode once since we flew over.
I see it twice. Yeah, I made sure to get there a little earlier than you guys, obviously.
One during my lunch break, one after.
The best way to do it. But yeah, so I mean, I've only seen it once, but even that has left such an impression for me to see. And Robin's just posted up, let's not forget roast Qui-Gon Monkey Lizard.
How can we not forget?
It's just nice to get these callbacks to characters that I've mentioned it before. We talked about the sequel films, that I've missed characters like that. I've missed classic characters like Jawas and what was that? I can't remember his name again. The guy with the long snout who we discussed just before we came on, who gave up Han Solo at the docking bay.
I know
Cubaz.
Did anyone notice Constable Zufio in the bar?
I saw the hat and I did wonder if it was.
I think
actually him.
I think it is Zufio. Yeah.
I think it's there as a running joke that he's there.
There's also, don't forget, the quad jumpers there as well.
It's just awesome. And I mean, we've not even talked about yet the creature that comes out for some reason and eats the poor taxi pilot, the speeder pilot, and attacks the ship, which was also awesome just for a little set piece for 2 minutes of the episode. Was a huge creature feature moment, which I was not expecting at all.
No, and I think it surprised us because what I love is, Phil, you said this earlier, so much of the trailers were episode 1. I reckon everything else we've seen is episode 2.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen much further than that. Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought about the ending? That we knew there was rumors of a reveal, and there'd been rumors episode 1.
I knew nothing actually. That's what I really like. I had heard no rumors. I hadn't looked into them either.
I think George was the same. I'd heard there was going to be one big reveal in the episode.
There's murmurings that the reason they didn't do any press screenings is because there was going to be something at the end. So you're expecting, like, not like a lightsaber, you're expecting something so iconic to Star Wars, you know, Boba Fett armor, Boba Fett confirmed dead, or someone from the Empire, someone being mentioned, an artifact, anything. The one thing I don't think anyone ever anticipated
was what we got.
Baby Yoda and Yaddle's baby. Yaddle, sorry.
We'll just fire it on screen. If anyone's watching along live, we have posted now the spoilerish pictures for the end of the episode. But yeah, this is the asset. This is the bounty that they are
Before
chasing.
we get into that, can we talk about the fact that he then kills IG-11? That's what. Actually, I was most upset about this entire episode. Like, I want more of IG-11. I love this character. You have just shot him through the head.
It was crazy because obviously the asset, when the client says you can get him, if he can bring him back, they want him alive. And obviously that scientist wants him for some kind of force thing, I'm guessing, is the only reason they're after him. And then he is told that, but if they can give proof of him dying, that is also would be accepted for lesser fee. Yet IG-11's mandate is to destroy it. So where he got his orders from to be different as well is it was a nice touch. But yes, it costs him.
What I liked with it was when Nick Nort's character said, you know, whatever's in there is bringing all the war here. Just get it out and leave. Like, he's spoken. Goodbye. Is that the end of Nick Nolte? I don't think so. I think we could see episode 2 maybe, but
again, IMDb was only 1 episode.
And this is what's amazed me, because for all these big names, I don't think Werner Herzog's definitely going to be episode 2.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be in all 8. I think once Gus from Breaking Bad, I apologize, I don't keep forgetting his name. Once Gus from Breaking Bad enters in his Thai pilot costume, whatever it is, he is going to, I think, just take over. I think he's going to be. We know he's the villain, but he's such a good villain on his other shows he's done. I'm so excited to see what it comes, because we've seen so much of this. That's what I love. We've seen so much of the marketing. It leaves nothing left to the. It leaves everything left to the imagination. That you now know it could go here, it could go there, and it's about them taking it to that level. Like we said, I thought IJ was here for the long game.
Yeah,
everyone was saying stuff, and I think that's a big thing. That he's gone at the end of episode 1. Is he gone? I think he's gone. But yeah, it's one of them.
Just another comment on our online. So thank you very much, Caleb, for commenting. I was incredibly surprised by the special effects props. Make up $10 million for each episode is a big step down from the $100 million for a 2-hour movie, but they pulled it off. And I just think it did look every penny that they spent on that. And it's what, 15 million, I think, was the quote per episode that they've spent on this.
Yeah, there or thereabouts. Yeah. It felt it felt like a film. The quality was just okay. Some of the green screen, of course, like with the blur, was a little bit okay. You could tell it's a TV show, but I think they spent the money in the right places, on the set, on the creature design, on the prosthetics. They didn't go to a huge amount of places in this, but it felt huge. I think that's the difference.
It felt massive. The fact we only went to a couple, like you say, two planets, but it did feel like you were crossing the galaxy when that ship took off and went somewhere. And yeah, it led us to IG-8's ultimate demise, IG-11's ultimate demise, when he was about to kill cute baby Gizmo Yoda. And then you see him. It was nice. It's obviously that play where the Mandalorian looks away as if the shot, and then you hear the shot go off.
Cutie. How can you kill this little cutie?
Then you expect him to then think, oh, you've got away with him, but no. Then IG-88 falls down with him. IG-11 falls down with a massive gaping hole in his head, which was a lovely touch. And then, to get this creature, we don't know his species. We've never known Yoda's species. So for now, everyone's just calling him Baby Yoda. Obviously, that is not Yoda. And I'm guessing there was this lovely, lovely shot in the... Sorry.
Both of you
both trying to put it up. Yeah, sorry. This lovely shot, which was almost the close of the episode. I think it was the close of the episode, with the Mandalorian reaching out a hand and the little Yoda hand coming out of the floating bassinet. In that kind of the picture that's on the Sistine Chapel of the two fingers touching. So are we going to say that this scientist is looking for force sensitivity again. Do you think that's where we're going?
I'm very intrigued because we know the Emperor's dead. Well, the Empire, not the Emperor, the Empire.
At this particular point in time, we can assume the Emperor is still dead,
No.
but we don't know what's happening yet.
No, I didn't mean the Emperor. I didn't know that. I genuinely the Empire, the whole structure and everything. The Empire's dead, but these are like loyalists. They're not leaving. Jakku's done. These guys are still here. Whether they're following orders or trying to create something, we don't know. So I'm not trying to say this is going to tie into the First Order, not that at all, but maybe there's some contingency plan. Maybe it's them trying to do some science stuff to try and be like, well, what could we do? Because clearly they believe in the Empire still. Yeah. So I'm very intrigued. I think that scientist is going to come into it. I'm going to predict. No, I'm not going to say do a predictions video. But I'm quite sure it will get delivered back, and then carnage will ensue. But it's left open-minded because part of me doesn't want them to be like, oh, we want to explore the Force.
Yeah.
Then when you've got Dave Filoni as your showrunner, who knows the Force? I don't know. I think they're going to probably test on him. I think they'll know there was a species. They'll know of a whatever the hell the species. They'll know of Yoda, the Yoda. Yeah. And they'll probably think, well, we found one of the same species, and let's see what we can do. I think it's going to be a testing thing.
And so, yeah, we just got from Chris on the comments again, just saying prediction that this is Palpatine's first attempt at force-sensitive cloning 50 years ago is about the time for the clone army is made.
Yeah, it's not Yoda and Yoda's Charlotte.
Are they set 9 BB? 9 AB?
No. Here we go. Here's the best one of all. No, Baby Yoda is Snoke. Theory confirmed. We're all done.
Your Snoke theory sucks.
If it's 50.
It's not.
It's 9 ABY, right? So it'd be minus 41. Well, no, sorry, it'd be 41 BBY. And I believe Phantom Menace is 31.
31
19 years between episode 3 and episode 4. So they're talking about another
30 years between 1 and 4. So this is 10 years before the episode 1.
Yeah, good point, actually. Yeah, but it's amazing that he looks at him like he said he was 50, and the IG-80, I can't get out.
IG-11,
IG-11 is just like species age differently.
Yeah. I don't know where I stand with the whole cloning thing. And the force testing thing is fine. I mean, yeah, here we go. 32 years. I knew I'd get there. Robin's worked out for me because he does this. Yeah, I'm not sure where I stand with the whole cloning thing. I don't want, especially the Emperor, I don't want him to be cloned. I don't want them to go down that whole mess again. They just chuck all that out. They don't want to bring it back in again. It just creates a problem. However, the force testing, especially with the Inquisitors and things like that, they had leading from the Clone Wars into what we had during Rebels. It wouldn't surprise me if it was some sort of testing to see if they could find force-sensitive users and then kind of, again, convert them. Again, try the Inquisitor program again. But at the same time, I'm not convinced. I think they might do something completely different.
It's kind of left that obviously no one in their right mind was expecting a baby Yoda to turn up.
No, so it's kind of when the little clawed hand comes. It's like, hang on a second, I know that, I know that hand.
The Mogwai popped up and then went on adventures, and it was it's kind of thrown everyone for kind of a loop because I think everyone knew the series is a bounty hunter series, and we're going to be following him around. He's going to have his bounty, and we're looking at stormtroopers and death troopers and all of that. To then throw this creature into the mix is a really nice step, and I'm so happy that it did not leak before the episode came out. Now, I must say, if anyone's watching this, obviously you've seen the episode and you're not being spoiled by this, but if you go into Twitter and literally type in The Mandalorian, people have spoiled this everywhere. It's one of the first images you'll get if you type in The Mandalorian into Google. It now brings up a picture of Baby Yoda. So I'm so glad that we were able to fly to America and see this episode before that got out, because that would have been a really big sort of like, I already knew this was coming. I loved that being the surprise. I was so taken back.
Yeah, it's probably one of the last things you expected in something that distanced itself from the first 6 films in so many ways. It's like, whoa, green toad, hello there. But then it leaves you wanting more. We've only got to wait 3 more days,
which is amazing. I can't believe we have to get back on the plane.
Admit, I do like how they're doing it spread out. They're not going, here's a binge.
Yeah,
I think it's better for it.
I love the binge concept is the best way of watching telly, but to sustain viewers and to sustain interest does need to be weekly. Don't get me wrong. For every Stranger Things on Netflix, there's Bloodline. Have you heard of Bloodline? No. Season 1 was excellent. Season 2 was average. 3 was terrible. You know, for every great series that people do remember from Netflix, there's probably 5 or 6 that, you know, because they're already out, people watch them. Average, done. This is weekly. This is over 6 weeks. This is over the time we get a Star Wars game, a Star Wars film, a Star Wars TV series, another one adjacently happening, which we don't really need to talk about that much. It's not as good. And, you know, comics, books, there's so much coming in these 2 months. And, you know, we kept saying after Solo, it's going to get quiet for next year, but when it gets busy, when it picks up, it's going to pick up. We are doing that flying to America every week.
It's just crazy now where we are. And it's just, I mean, exciting. I mean, overall, like, that's kind of the episode that was sent out on a bounty and he found a baby Yoda was kind of the crux of the story.
The thing is, though, do we think he'll hand it in?
Yes.
Yes, he's going to hand it in. He's going to get the armor, and then he's either going to try and kill them to save it, or they'll turn on him and then he'll save it anyway.
Or it's going to be crazy that it's never going to get brought up again. Got it. There you go. Thanks for me, bounty. Never mentioned. And it was just a little...
That would be brutal, but also...
Or he shoots the baby, because then he doesn't have to share the 50% profit.
But, well, he doesn't have to share anymore because Mr. IG-11 is gone, yeah. He might just carry him around. He might refix and reprogram him, which would be awesome.
I think he'll put on his backpack. Like,
yeah, that'd be cool. So what were your guys' overall thoughts coming out this episode? You guys have seen it twice, so overall thoughts for the first episode of The Mandalorian.
I would say it's exactly what I wanted from a Star Wars TV show. It was serious, but with had elements, had great action, great pacing, and it ultimately left me wanting more and introduced us to the new characters who we're obviously going to go on a little bit of a journey with.
Just like as we've seen him killing those stormtroopers in a clip we have, so we're not. So we'll see. He may hand it in, he may not. He may just take the money and run and kill them on the way out. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. Yeah, sorry, George, continue.
Oh, no, that's me done.
Okay. And I just want to say, as Caleb again just commented, like we just mentioned earlier, wonder if Mando is going to build his armor over the course of the season of the series. Phil, you kind of dropped into that a little bit earlier. I think you will see that. I think the more bounties he gets, we will see his armor change over the series as well. I think we will see a different looking Mandalorian when the series finishes. As to how it started, yeah. How it started, yeah.
What Captain Phasma wishes she was.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, that's what she wishes she was. Phil, your thoughts on the series, the episode?
Yeah, so I was a little disappointed in one area. Losing IG-11. I also wanted more from it, but I think that's just me, more of a fan going, I just want more of what's just happened than being disappointed in the show itself. I loved it. It was a solid episode. It was a good start. It had a set background, yet without setting too much, as we alluded to earlier. It's left me wanting more, but also, again, it sets up the world in a really nice place. There's more to come, but I think this is a very, very solid start. And that's what it needed, was a good... It didn't need to be too much. This first episode had to really set it properly because, as we were saying earlier, everything hinges on this. If it didn't go well, it wasn't good for Star Wars. I think this is a very good way to go.
It really was. And I'm right there along with you. I've seen it once, but I loved this first episode. It did everything, like George said, I wanted it to do in this episode. It started off nice and strong. A really good episode with a massive kind of massive thing thrown at the end for us to kind of go, what's going on with this? And has made me desperate for it to be Friday so we can see the next episode. I can't wait to see more Mandalorian, and I've absolutely loved this.
Agreed. I think we now need a Mandalorian style T-shirt for Once of the Force. I think that's our next project.
Absolutely, the next project. Absolutely.
But because it's just one word, we can't really make our title.
It's hard, and no one's released the font yet, so it's really hard to do anything with.
But I did think that there will be some form of Mandalorian stuff. I loved one thing. Sorry, I did forget the credits. I love the
start of the credits. Yeah, the
artwork. It's not artwork, but you know, like how in Rebels there was them sort of like old photos like on the walls. It reminded me of that, and that's definitely a Dave Filoni thing. I think I really liked that.
And what I just wanted, sorry, before we just finally move on, we do also have the soundtrack that is now available as well. It is available on Spotify and iTunes, I believe, but it was.
As are we.
Yes, as are we. But it was a really nice touch. I didn't know what to expect, and there wasn't overly. I think was the it's hard to remember if there was music all the way through.
It wasn't. There was bits without, but it was really well done. It's really classy. It's not, again, over the top. It's not. It's really subtle what's been used, and I don't think we've got a full theme tune yet.
I think it was nice as well. We didn't get any that I heard any Williams in there at all. It was all new, nothing alluded to. Even there wasn't even a hint of, from what I can recall, there wasn't a hint of any sort of previous themes from Williams either. George, do you have anything?
If anyone, I mean, Ludwig, I can never pronounce the surname. Ludwig Göransson, I think, who did Black Panther, won an Oscar for Black Panther. Incredible soundtrack, incredibly not native soundtrack, completely the wrong word, but very cultural with the African in Black Panther. You had that transition in Star Wars where it felt very cultured to the Mandalorian and like Mandalore, its own kind of vibe. Nothing traditional, nothing outlandish. It felt like I could see this as being his clan's soundtrack theme.
There's also nothing too orchestral. There's nothing too, again, say not too John Williams, but also just not too theatrical. It was nice and subtly done. I thought it was really nice. I mean, and I haven't listened to the full soundtrack yet. I haven't gone back and listened to it. I will do now though. But what was used throughout that episode was used really well.
I really enjoyed it as well. You're right. The subtlety behind it was what I enjoyed the most, that it didn't stand out and take over a lot of the scenes. There was the big musical moment when the creature came out of the ice, but other than that, it all just flowed really nicely with the episode.
Indeed. Yes, again, that's a brilliant comment as well, Dave. So, Star Wars movies are thematic music, so using themes that were specifically designed for other characters wouldn't have worked. Completely agreed there. I'm interested to see how they will do it going forward, but they always had little notes here and there, like the Force theme has been used, like on little bits here and there. There's always had some kind of bits drop, but this doesn't need. It needs to set its own place, its own space in the Star Wars universe. I think it's done that really well. Again, I swear I heard something similar to the Force theme, such as Brien Sunset when Yoda baby came on screen. Maybe I've only seen the scene twice so far.
Yeah,
I need to go back and watch it again
and listen and see if that does. I'll be watching it again after we finish on this to have a look at that. But yeah, so overall, what a glorious entry into Star Wars live action television.
Indeed. George, closing thoughts.
Oh, again, exactly what I expected, hoped for, enjoyed. It's been well worth the wait, and I can only get excited for Friday and what follows.
Indeed. Dave, anything else to add?
Just a massive thank you again to everyone who's joined us live tonight, which is amazing that you've had comments. Thank you for bringing up your comments and joining in with the actual show itself. It does mean the absolute world to us to have people here who are joining in. That's what we want as part of this community, that people come in and are part of this podcast as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
Indeed. We will be back. I don't know if we're doing Friday or Saturday yet. I don't think we've fully...
Saturday.
Exactly.
We'll be back Saturday for episode 2.
Yeah, for chapter 2 of The Mandalorian. I want to thank you, of course, everyone for joining us in the chat. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as per usual. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at One's the Force of Stars Podcast, at The Force Podcast. You can find the audio for this episode later on Stitcher, Podbean, Spotify, and iTunes. Of course, the video will be up on our YouTube page. Of course, you can watch it along with us live, both on YouTube and on Facebook. You can find the merchandise we all wear at our Teespring shop, which will be in the link in the description down below. We haven't got anything on tonight, but however, we do all love it, and especially the new stuff we've had put up recently. Of course, this is actually the very first show as well. We've been presented by Audible. Of course, there's many thousands of titles online, audible.com/OWTF. You can find us there. And just if you give it a click through, that would be fantastic. So we've launched The Force. May the Force be with you. Good night.